Hello Internet, so nice to see you. Today I want to talk to you about the wonderful 65 chord or 6/5 chord. Now, this chord, it's actually explained in several music theory books, but somehow when people read those books, they forget about this chord and they just don't use it. I don't know, it's like, it's one of the secrets in plain sight, okay? Now, since when I'm gonna explain what it is, some people are gonna go like, yeah, I know this one already. Let me play you something, just a very short chord progression, so you hear the sound and you see how this can be used. In this chord progression, the second and fourth chord were both 65 chord. That wonderful little dissonance in there is exactly what we are going for, okay? So if you like the sound, stay with me and I'll show you exactly what this is and how to do it. And yes, you've heard this sound already, but again, have you noticed how you hear this sound only in the hands of professional musicians, only in music composed by people who have studied? That's not an easy chord to discover, even if once I show it to you, it's absolutely easy. So how does that work? The 6/5 chord, it's a chord that contains the fifth and the sixth of the chord, and may or may not contain the third of the chord. And indeed, in most examples here, I'm gonna simply omit the third. The difference with the normal triads, which are major and minor, is that in the triad, the most important note is the third, because it tells you if the chord is major or minor. But here, we don't care if this chord is major or minor. We care about the dissonance between the sixth and the fifth. So for instance, if I were in the key of C major, and I'm playing a 6/5 chord with the root of C, a C 6/5, the notes will be C, G, and A. C the root, G the fifth, and A the sixth. If I play those notes in this order, it will sound this way. By itself, it sounds quite unimpressive. I can change the order of those notes and play C, A, and G at the high octave. Now, depending on what scale you are in and on the exact route in which you build the 6/5 chord, you have more interesting situations where the distance between the sixth and the fifth of the chord is just a half step. So for instance, if in the key of C major I'm building an E 6/5 chord, you're gonna see that the root is the E note, the fifth is the B note, and to stay in the key of C, the sixth above the E must be the C note. So now I have just a half step between B and C, and when I play this, I get this sound. All the Metallica fans know this sound already because it's the same, in a different key, as the chord of Fade to Black and One. So you can use this chord exactly as it is, and it already sounds good. Now, before we go on ahead, some people will say, but wait, Tommaso, this is actually a very common chord. It's just a sixth chord. Yes, it is just a sixth chord, but again, you normally will play the sixth chord, so like a major sixth or a minor sixth or a minor sixth with a flat sixth and all this kind of thing, you will play them with a third. So when you play all those notes, for instance, if I play a C sixth, I will have to play the C, the E, the G, and the A. And if I play all those notes together, I can, of course, on the guitar, but it doesn't sound as haunting and interesting as if you just play the 6 and 5, or at least that's my opinion. Some other people are gonna say that this is just a seventh chord in first inversion. What does it mean? Well, let's see. The C sixth, again, C, E, G, A, has the same note as an A minor 7, A, C, E, G, only with the third at the bass. The third in this case will be C at the bass. So yes, it will be an A minor 7th chord in first inversion, in which I eliminate the E, so it's an A minor 7, no 5 in first inversion. Okay, yes, formally you're perfectly right, but I mean, how many times you sit down and use this chord purposefully, eliminating the third and concentrating on the dissonance on the 5 and 6? Not many. I see that most people know about this chord, can analyze this chord, but they don't use it. So let me show you one interesting way to use this chord with your own chord progression. So to use this trick, you need to start with a very short chord progression. I would recommend starting with 2 chords. And right now I'm going to do this in the key of A minor, and my initial progression of 2 chords is A minor, F. Nothing groundbreaking, right? Very good. Now I'm going to make space between the A minor and F, and I'm going to make space between the F and my return to A minor. In these extra slots, I'm going to put a 5-6 chord. And specifically, I'm going to put a 5-6 chord that follows those 2 conditions. Condition 1 is that all the notes of this 5-6 chord must be in key. So the interval between the 5 and 6, etc. must respect the notes of the key. You're going to see in a moment how I'm doing it. Second condition is that the root of the 5-6 chord is 1 step below the root of the following chord and 1 step in the scale. So the chord I'm putting here between A minor and F is going to be 1 step in the scale below the F. So the root is going to be E. So I'm going to put an E 5-6 here. Next, between the F and my return to A minor, I'm going to put a 5-6 chord that has the root 1 step in the scale below A, which is G. I'm going to stay in the A natural minor scale here. So my chord progression is A minor, E 6-5, F, G 6-5. Now I can arrange them in several different ways. So what I was playing at the intro is exactly this little chord progression. Let me show you exactly how I did it. So I'm not even playing all the notes in A minor, I'm playing the A and the C. It's already enough to understand the chord. And I'm playing my E 5-6. So I have the E note, the B note, and the C note, and I make sure to put the B and the C note in the same octave so that I maximize the dissonance. And I'm playing my F chord, and if you notice, I already have the C note of the F chord coming from the E 6-5, and so I'm keeping that C in position, and I'm just changing the other 2 notes to get to F. Then I'm going to play the G 6-5. Right now, I'm going to do the opposite of what I did before. I'm going to put the 5 and the 6 in 2 different octaves, so essentially I'm going to play the G, the E, and the D at the high octave. And that's the chord progression I played for you guys before. I could have made completely different choices here. I could have, even with the exact same chord progression, I could have arranged it in completely different ways. I could, for instance, have played the A minor this way, playing the root, 3rd, 5th, and high root, all there on the 5th fret. Follow it with the E 5-6, but this time I'm going to separate the C and the B on different octaves. So I'm playing E, C, high B. So I'm at this right now. Then I could follow this with the F, playing the root F and the 3rd and the 5th at the higher octave. And then follow with my G 5-6, but this time I'm going to have the 5 and 6 on the same low octave, so I'm going to get G, D, and E. That's quite a jump in the melody. If you don't like that, I can always decide to do like I did before and play the G, the E, and the high D. So. Or. Again, up to you, same chord progression, still hauntingly beautiful, okay? So again, the 2 very simple rules here to use this 5-6 chord. By the way, there is no set order. You can call it the 5-6 chord or the 6-5 chord, however you want. But the way to use this wonderful chord, one way is to simply put it before any other chord and with the root 1 step below the following chord and make sure you follow the scale. It sounds good all the time. It's kind of magic. Try and use it because it's absolutely fantastic how this sounds. Taking any chord progression, doesn't matter how simple, this will always work. Or, like we've seen before, you can use this chord like Metallica and simply use this chord in isolation and milk this dissonance for all it's worth. These are not the only possible application of this chord, and in future I'm going to have another video when I'm showing you a more complex application, but that deserves its own video, because otherwise this video becomes way too long. Now, when you're writing music with those chords, it really pays to know your fretboard inside out, so you can find those chords and the different positions of those chords at a moment's notice without spending too much time doing mental calculation. To achieve that result of really knowing your fretboard, I recommend you guys check out my course, Complete Chord Mastery. Complete Chord Mastery, it's not a book. It's a complete video course that takes you from the basics up. We do everything you need to know about harmony and chords on your guitar. All the theory is done straight on the fretboard. There is no theory for the sake of theory here. Everything is immediately practical, and everything is developed through exercises, so you know how to apply these immediately on your guitar. If you have just a minute, click on the link on the top right to check out Complete Chord Mastery. If you like this video, smash on that like button and don't forget to subscribe and click on notification, otherwise YouTube will not let you know when I put up a new video. And if you have any comment, feedback, suggestions, write them down in the comment. I enjoy reading from you and I make videos on your suggestions. This is Tommaso Zilio of musictheoryforguitar.com, and until next time, enjoy!